Hi everyone, I'm here to show you how to use the My Favorite Number digital activity file. This activity can be used with Microsoft PowerPoint or it can be used in Google Slides. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and open your file up. We're going to start with it in Microsoft PowerPoint. Here is my file and I am able to go in and edit all of the text boxes where it says type here or type your name here. I'm not able to change the background images or the images of the characters or the little objects. Those are already there, but I can change all of the text. So I'm going to start on the very first slide. It says My Favorite Number by and type your name here. I'm going to click where it says type your name here and my text box appears. I'm going to place my cursor right after the E on here, and then I'm going to use my backspace button to delete this text and type my name in, by Mary. Once I've typed my name, I can click off, and now it's right there. If I want to change the font or the color or the size, I click right back, and I hold down my mouse button, and I highlight the words. And I can come up here to the toolbar and I can see that this is where my fonts are. If I click this arrow, I have all of my different fonts to choose from. Over here, right next to the fonts, is the size button. I can click and I can make it bigger or smaller. And if I make it too big that it comes off of the part of the slide that I want it on, I just take and I drag it back up by the text box. And let's say I want to change the color. I'm going to highlight the words again and go right up to this A with the line under it. And I'm going to pick a different color. Now I'm ready to go to my next slide. It says type your favorite number here. I'm going to click and my text box appears. I'm going to put my cursor right after the E on here and I'm going to use my backspace again. And I'm going to type in my favorite number. So, for example, my favorite number is 3. So I'm going to type 3. Again, if I want to make it bigger or I want to change the font or change the color, I go up to the toolbar to do that. I'm going to make this bigger since I have lots of room. And I'm going to change the color to green. Now let's say that I've decided that I don't really want the color to be green. I can go right up here to this little button. It's next to the save button. It looks like a left arrow and it's called the undo button. If I click that, it'll change it back. So the undo is really helpful if you make a mistake or you decide you don't like what you did. Just click that undo button, that little left arrow, and it'll go back to what you had before. So I'm going to fill in the rest of the slides the same way. This slide, slide 4, says ways to make my number. And I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text boxes so that you could show 5 ways to make the number. So I picked the number 3. So an example here, I'm going to use the backspace. And maybe I'm going to say 2 plus 1. Because 2 plus 1 would be a way to make my favorite number 3. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to do another one. 10 minus 7. There's another way to make my number 3. So it's up to you to decide how can you make this number, ways to make your number. And you have 5 different text boxes to type into. The next slide says pictures of my number. You're going to want to follow your teacher's directions for this slide to see what type of pictures your teacher wants you to insert. So since my favorite number is 3, I may want to put in 3 circles to show this number. I can go up to Insert, and where it says Shapes, I can click, and I can pick the circle shape or the oval shape. Or maybe I want to pick a rectangle or a triangle or a smiley face or a heart, whatever you want to pick. I'm going to pick the circle. And I see that I have a little plus sign that shows up here. And I'm going to hold it down. And I get to make my circle. I can come up here to the shape fill and change the color of my circle. and the shape outline and change the outline of my circle. Now I have one circle, but since my favorite number is 3, I need 3 circles. So I'm going to click the circle, and I can either right-click and say copy, click off of the circle and say paste, or I can come up here to my toolbar and click paste. I can also copy from my toolbar. So now I have 3 circles to show 3. If your teacher lets you, you can go to Insert Online Pictures, and then you're able to put in photographs or other pictures from the computer. So that's up to your teacher if your teacher wants you to use the shapes or use the pictures, but your teacher will give you directions for that. So I want to show different ways to show my number. I could also have chosen a triangle to represent my number 3. I could go to the shapes and pick a triangle. And I'm only going to do one triangle because this time I'm showing my shape in a little bit different way. I'm saying that it's 3 because triangles have 3 sides. So that's another way to show my number, 3 sides on a triangle. So it's up to you to decide how to show your number, but you want to do a few different pictures to represent your number. The last slide, you're going to create your own word problem, okay, using your number. I have here, it says problem, and then you're going to click the text box to type in your problem. So I can make up any type of story problem that I want to that has the number 3. Maybe I'm going to have 3 kids that are going to the store and they each buy 5 pieces of candy, and I want to know how many pieces of candy they bought in all. Okay, so I would write my story problem here. I would type it here, and then I would type the answer to my story problem right in this box. Make sure that when you finish your PowerPoint activity, you save it by clicking this little save icon at the top. It looks like a disk, or going to File and Save. If you're working with Google Slides, it looks a little bit different than Microsoft PowerPoint, but you're going to do the same thing. In Google Slides, you're going to click where you have the text boxes where it says type here, type your name here, type your number here. When you do that, you can see a blue text box appears. I'm going to have my cursor right after the E on here. I'm going to backspace, and I'm going to type my name in here. If I click off of it, now I have my name. If I want to change the size or the color or the font, I highlight the word, and I can come right up to the top. Right here is color. This is for shapes. These are the colors for the shapes. And right here is the color for the text. You could also put it in bold. You could put it in italics. You could underline it. You could change the size, and you could change the font. So maybe I'm going to change my font and my color. You're going to continue to fill in the other slides by just clicking in the text box, using your backspace to delete the words that are there and to type in your response. Again, I can highlight it. I can go and I can change the size to make it bigger. I can change my font right here. And where the A is with the underline with the text color, I can change the color. I'm going to finish all of the slides the same way. You want to follow your teacher's directions for where it says pictures of my number. If you're inserting a shape, you go up to the toolbar at the top where it says Insert, and you go right here to Shape. And if you hold your little cursor, it looks like a little hand over it, it takes you to all the different shapes that you can use, and then you're able to insert your shapes. If your teacher wants you to insert images, he or she will show you how to do that with the Inserting the Image feature on Google Slides. On the last slide, you'll type in your word problem that you're going to create just by clicking right next to here, using the backspace and going ahead and typing. And on Google Slides, you actually don't have to go to File and Save because all of your work is automatically saved. So I hope that this is helpful for you and that you have a fun time working on your favorite number digital activity. Thanks.